The government has designed Centrelink to work against the poor people. All poor people should be rich, but the government has designed the system to work against poor people to make them poor instead of rich. Rich people are supposed to be poor people, and the poor people are supposed to be rich, but the government made poor people rich instead. Rich people shouldn't be poor, but poor people should be rich. The government has designed it though so that rich people who should be rich, are poor. The government works against poor people. It says poor people have to pay $10 a month, every month, towards a phone plan. That's just handset fees. That doesn't even include credit. How are you supposed to call people with only 300 minutes of calls a day? That's just bullshit, right? The government designed it so Netflix costs $8 a month, right? Rich people can pay for that. Are you rich? No. You're supposed to be rich because you're poor. The government designed it so poor people aren't rich. They've designed it so if you don't make enough money to be a rich person, then you're permanently going to be poor because you're not going to be making enough money to be rich. Think about it, right? Have you ever been rich? Probably not. If you were rich at one stage in your life, you probably wouldn't be poor right now. Think about it. How many rich people are there that are poor right now? Zero, right? Because the government is playing with you. It knows your secrets. It's looking into your past and it's going, wow, this person is poor. They could be rich. They should be rich. These poor people should be rich. And these rich people, they're supposed to be poor, right? We're going to give the poor people's money to the rich people, make them richer. All of the poor people's money, it's not much money, it's enough to make the rich people rich. Poor people that should be rich aren't, though, because they're poor. The government system is designed to keep kids in cheap schools because if they went to a rich school, they would become rich, and the government doesn't want more rich people because rich people are supposed to be poor, and the government doesn't want people to realize that poor people are actually just rich people that are being held back by the system. The government doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that there are too many poor people around, and that by the law of averages, that should mean that there's more rich people. Because if there's too many poor people, then, there's more money to go around because more people are trying to get jobs, and which means that there would be more rich people, statistically speaking. And that just means that there should be less poor people, more rich people, right? But the government's trying to design it so there's less rich people than there are poor people, right? And if there were more, the rich people that exist today, they shouldn't have any. They keep getting the government takes the money from the poor, puts it right back into the rich, right? Rich people that are supposed to be down here with us, being poor, eating mac and cheese, watching reruns of Becca, but no, they're up there. Tuna and rice, watching Friends. You know how expensive it is to live in New York back in the 1990s? That's how rich they are. They can afford that shit. They're supposed to be poor. Poor people, people get poor by spending lots of money on things they don't need. That's rich people right there, right? Rich people are supposed to be poor. Poor people become poor because of the system, though. The system makes rich people into poor people in order to have more rich people than there are poor people, right? It's because it's designed that way to work against society, And it's, if the government really was on our side, they just give they'd make the money more available to people, you know. They'd say, right, you poor people, we'll give you half the money of the rich people, and rich people will take half of your money away. We'll give it to the poor people, and then we'll take half of both of their money, and we'll give it to the middle class people, and then everybody will have the same amount of money, right? Everybody will be equal, right? But no, they don't want to do that, because it's just the way the system is made, right? Birthday comes once a year, okay? What do your parents get you? They make you rich? How much money do your parents give you for your birthday, hey? Think about that. Do they give you enough money to make you rich? If they made you rich, would you be poor anymore? Hey? Do you think the government wants you to be rich? Think about this, alright? I'm trying to enlighten you here, okay? If there were more rich people than there were poor people, do you think the government would exist? There would be no government. People would run themselves. There would be eBay down the road. You could go and visit eBay. Flying cars? They'd be here already. Okay? Skype? You wouldn't even need Skype. You just go around, hey Jeff, how are you? I want to talk to you. You wouldn't need Skype because Jeff, lo and behold, he lives next door. I want to talk to Jeff. Fucking Jeff, you live next door to me. I'll talk to Jeff. Can't talk to Jeff though, because I'm poor. Jeff's a rich person. We're supposed to be on the same level as the poor people that are rich now because the government made it so that poor people became rich. But really, it's just money is a social construct designed to make it seem like money is important, but it's not. Money is just a cable tie in the world of society meant to hold you back, stop you from doing what you really want to do. And the government knows that you need money to survive, and they don't make you rich, because who's going to be rich if everybody's got the same amount of money? Nobody's rich when everybody's the same, and the government doesn't like that. They'd rather you be poor, right? They take your money, give it to poor people to make them rich, which in turn means that you're poor, they're rich. The system is designed against you, okay? Think about that. How many times a day do you look in your wallet, right? How many times a day do you open it up, look for some cash? What do you got? Nothing? You got $0. What do you think rich people do when they look in their wallet? Do you think they go, oh no, I've got no money because I have no money as a rich person, I've got no... Of course they don't. Rich people have money. How do you think they become rich people? Do you know where they get their money? Tax breaks. The government gives them hundreds and billions of dollars to your neighbour Jeff, who's rich, because you're poor. Because you decided you wanted a GoPro for your birthday, which bankrupted your parents, right? Do you think your parents could afford that GoPro? No. They had to get a fucking loan, right? And now they're gone. They're gone. They're in the red. Because it's designed that way. The government engineers money. It's a societal strap, figuratively, to hold you down to earth, stop you from prospering, like all those rich people that spend money flippantly on anything in ways that should make medium wealth people poor, but really just makes rich people richer, which doesn't make sense, because rich people should be poor if they're going to spend money like medium wealth people. How much money do poor people spend? They don't spend much money, they save it because they're poor. They can't afford to spend money. If the world worked, properly, poor people would be rich because they're saving their money, right? But no. Judo lessons? How much do judo lessons cost, hey? What, like $500 a year? Do you think poor people have time and money for judo lessons? No. No. They're working. What do you think rich people do for a living? Drugs? No, poor people. Right? Poor people do drugs. Drugs are a social concept designed by the government in order to enact a new civil war. You know? We need to fight over the drugs, but you don't really think about it in a common sense sort of way. War is a social construct designed by the government to try and keep dead people at war, more people dying at war, and rich people who don't go to war, that keep them alive, and so the only people who get to live are rich people. Do you think rich people want to die? No. They don't need to die, because they've got enough money to stop themselves from having to go to war. Poor people have to go to war and die, so that only leaves rich people in the world, which means the government gets to have control and power over poor people who go out to war and die, which means that there's only poor people, only poor people left to, rich people left to run the country, right? Do you honestly think the government didn't plan that? Okay?